Alrighty. Hello. Welcome to this webinar on how to become a Solana Pro using Nansen. We'll just wait another minute or two for some people to stream in before we get started and find some alpha on chain. But very excited to have you all here. Feel free to engage in the live chat as well. Drop a GM in the comments, say hi to the other on-chain sleuths, and just sit patiently and we'll get started in just a few minutes. GM to everyone here. I hope everyone's bags are looking good. I hope you've been crushing it in the markets lately. And fingers crossed for an eventual Bitcoin at 100K. Surely we can't be far off now. Maybe it might come as a Christmas present, but ideally sooner than then. Get started in 1 minute.
Where is everyone calling in from out of interest? Drop it in the YouTube comments.
Can see many GMs, but London, nice. Charleston as well, interesting. GM from Turkey, hello. Oh, we got Rio as well, exciting. We got on-chain sleuths from all over the world. Okay, well, I think it's time for us to kick off. Thank you all for joining us today. This is a webinar that is focused on learning how to navigate Solana on Nansen with ease so that you can become a better crypto investor, specifically while navigating on-chain on Solana. Solana has been going crazy lately. So this is going to be the first of potentially several webinars if you find them helpful. And we're going to be looking at a number of different things, specifically trying to find meme coins and tokens early on Solana. So you can find the next 10x, 100x, whatever it might be. We'll also look at how you can discover some really interesting whale wallets, as well as funds and entities that are also aping into meme coins on chain. It's always very, very interesting when we see funds buying millions and millions of dollars worth of meme coins on Solana, and we'll show you all of that today. We will also just talk a little bit more about the importance of on-chain data and how you can use Nansen to win in this market cycle, as everything on Solana is happening on chain at the moment. So there's a lot of exciting stuff. Firstly, though, my name is Charlie. I lead growth here at Nansen. I work with many of crypto's top VCs and hedge funds to help them get more value out of their on-chain subscriptions and ultimately help people make money on chain. And that is what we would love to empower all of you with as well. So before we jump into the demo, though, I'll hand it over to James, who is based in Dublin, who would like to share a little bit more.
Yeah, so my name is James. I'm an alpha community manager at Nansen, and I also help CSMs. I help professional users get the most out of the product in a CSM role. So yeah, hopefully today we're able to do the same for you guys, turn you into on-chain experts using Nansen and on Solana. I'll pass it back to you now, Charlie.
Very nice. Thank you, James. James is a great combination of technical ability and also degen ability. So he is really, really in the trenches. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to show us today. So let's actually take a look at Nansen, and we can see that here. I hope that my screen is large enough. I will just zoom in a touch. If you wouldn't mind just dropping a little yes in the chat that you can see things okay, and then we will race ahead. Yes, great. Thank you very much, and let's get stuck into it. So firstly, just to speak about Nansen conceptually, we have some people that are joining us today that are true on-chain experts. Some are here to learn about Nansen for the first time. So to get started, Nansen is an investor-based product. It helps people to find their edge in the markets and to win on-chain. Really, people use it for three things. So the first is discovery. That's to discover tokens early and also to discover interesting addresses or that are active on chain. Once you've done that discovery, then it's also about performing due diligence. So that token that you've found, how do you know if 80% of the ownership is held within the developer's wallet that may just look to dump on you? Or how do you know if that address, that whale, that entity that you found is truly profitable? And then it's also the element of defense. So once you've performed due diligence, you've potentially entered a position. How do you know how to monitor that position, and how do you know when is best to sell? So really what powers those three workflows is Nansen's wallet labels. So we have 350 million wallets labeled across a number of different chains. The chains are many EVMs that you'll care about, but what we're really here for today is Solana. And that's where we've seen a lot of Nansen's users winning over the last few weeks and months. So again, just quick summary, 350 million wallets, discovery, due diligence, and defense. And the real secret sauce to Nansen is in our concept of smart money. So I mentioned we have 350 million wallets labeled. The most profitable 10,000 of them, so the real cream of the crop, they are assigned this little smart money emoji, which is represented by the little nerd here. On Solana specifically, it's the most profitable 500 addresses. So using Nansen, you can specifically focus on those 500 addresses to see what they're buying and selling in real time so that you can potentially think about following in their footsteps to become a better crypto investor. You can set alerts easily on these accounts so you can be notified in Telegram, Discord, or Slack when they make activity on chain, giving you the chance to quickly pull out your laptop or your wallet and follow in their footsteps, and again, ideally find your edge and win. So most profitable 500 wallets, we're going to dive into that quite a bit today. The focus is on three of our most favorite features. The first being smart money. So how do we then zoom into what those most profitable addresses are doing? We're also going to take a look at token God mode, which is how do we then zoom into a particular token and learn everything that we need to about the token. And then also the last universe that we'll open is around a wallet. So how do we know everything about a specific wallet, their P&L data, so on and so forth. So we're going to show you some pretty interesting workflows where all of these features come together. And hopefully we might even find our next 10x or 100x today. But that is enough from me. So I will hand it over to James now, who's going to be running us through some interesting workflows on how you can discover tokens and meme coins early on Solana. So I'll stop the screen share, James, and I'll hand it over to you. And while James is bringing this up, sorry, do feel free to drop some questions in the chat. There will be a dedicated time for Q&A at the end. Feel free to drop them throughout or also save them for the end. We'll do our best to answer as many as possible. But would love to get your thoughts and feedback on how interesting some of this stuff is along the way. But over to you, James.
Okay, very good. So, Charlie, let me know, can you see my screen?
Clear as day. Thank you.
Great. So, what we're looking at here is the smart money dashboard. There are 3 sections to it. Up here in the left-hand corner, you can see leaderboard, top tokens, and trades. Today, in this segment, we are going to be looking at top tokens. As Charlie mentioned, we have about 10,000 smart money addresses. That accounts for about 0.003% of all wallets that Nansen has labeled at all. So these truly are top of the top. So that should give a good indication about why we care about what these wallets are doing. There's a number of metrics we take into account when we are deciding what is smart money, what is not. One of the main ones, of course, is P&L, but we also take into account things like win rate, their overall ROI on their portfolio, the number of trades they make, because if it is a bot, we generally want to filter those out. So if they're making, let's say, 1,000 trades a day, we don't consider them smart money. So again, that should give you an idea of why we care about what they're doing. Now let's take a look at what they're doing. On this page, we have 2 tabs. We have what are smart money trading and what are smart money holding. So the difference between these are the top widget here is looking at inflows and outflows into smart money wallets. This is looking at their balances. So we're going to focus on here because, as we said, we're going to be looking at how do we discover tokens early. So what we can do is start putting in some filters. We can put in criteria that will filter by market cap. We can also put in criteria that will filter by token age. Most people these days are interested in micro caps, low caps. So let's go ahead and take a look at some low caps. Immediately, we have a list of tokens. Again, we are focused on Solana. The 24-hour flow. This is the 24-hour flow of this token into smart money wallets. So if you think about smart money wallets as one entity, this dashboard is looking at the flows into that single entity, which is smart money. Maybe some of you know some of these tokens already. We can see the market cap over here. Maybe we want to make sure we're early, so we're going to put in the age here. So 7 days. And another good thing to note is this little emoji here with the small tree, the seedling. That lets us know immediately that this token was recently launched within 3 days. And you'll see that around the platform as well.
Hey, James, sorry to interrupt with you, but would you mind just zooming in a touch? We've just had a few comments in YouTube there.
Yes. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Nice.
Would love to see your feedback in the chat as well if this is a bit better for you. Thank you.
All good to go?
Go ahead, mate.
Great, thank you. And yeah, so what was I saying? Okay, yeah, so we can filter by market cap, we can filter by token age, we can see which tokens have the most amount of smart money flowing in over the last 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days. We can also see over here the number of traders, and then again, token age, market cap. So let us take one of these and go into it. Let's see. Since Bob is at the top of the list here, it's got the most amount of smart money flow in the last 24 hours. It's got a token age of 1 day. We can take a look at this one. Something. Charlie, you can still see this, correct?
Yeah, I can. We're looking at Bob.
Okay, great. So this is token God mode, and this is slightly going into a bit on the due diligence part, not the discovery, but just to give you an insight of the workflow you can follow through the smart money dashboard is once you go into token God mode, you can see who the biggest buyers over the last 24 hours. And we can see there's a smart money address here that's got bought 60K worth of the token. And then you can go into a deeper dive on smart money. See their holding over the last, it's only a couple of days old. So we're seeing there is a big increase in holdings and the number of holders. There were 6 holders yesterday. There's now 19 holders today. And then we can get a list of the smart money here. But I'm going to just jump back because I want to remain focused on the smart money dashboard itself. And again, on the discovery piece. Immediately here, we have some larger cap tokens. You can see here WIF is obviously smart. Of course, there would be smart money flowing into WIF, but there is, let's say, the market cap is much larger, less room for gains. So again, we want to go into maybe micro caps. And maybe there's a certain type of trader that you will come across the platform that you see is much better to follow. You'll be able to filter by these certain traders. So let's say we could filter by funds, but a lot of them won't be going into micro caps on Solana. But let's say 90 and 180-day smart traders tend to be more profitable than 30-day smart traders. So maybe we want to focus in on them. So we see here BLT looks interesting. It's 7 days old, 447K market cap. Of course, Solana moves very quick. So there is a possibility that this has already been through its cycle and it is now on the way out. I'm not going to make a speculation on that. And if anyone is holding it, I'm not judging you. But I'm going to jump over now here to trades. So this is one of our most recent features that we released. It's one of our most powerful features. It's a live widget looking at all smart money trades. You are able to make it multi-chain, but we are focused on Solana for today. And some people I have spoken to like to take an approach where they'll just sit and watch this, watch the trades come through. And if they see a lot of smart money addresses aping a token, they then might be interested and they might do further due diligence. So we see here AI SAR, $2.15 million FDV. This is a low cap. We see there's a few different smart money addresses getting in, which is generally a better sign than just one, but the size isn't that big. So maybe it's not as interesting. Although this guy moved to a 20 sol, so maybe there could be something there, but it would require a bit further due diligence. We're going to remain on the token discovery part. What else can you do with the live DEX trades table? One good feature that I really like here is that you're able to now see over the last, because this table will generally cover the last 24 hours, what have funds done on Solana in the last 24 hours. And as we can see here, Master Ventures has been extremely active. So it looks like they were twapping 2 tokens and even selling other tokens to get into these 2 tokens. If you hover over, you will get some summary stats. So let's say we see here 75K FDV. Most likely this trade went poorly. Justice, we see $62 million market cap, down 50% 24 hours. Possibly this trade also went poorly. Again, it would require a bit further due diligence, but that's something we will cover again. We're going to focus on this part on, again, token discovery. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what you can do here as well. If you're very focused on microcaps, I'll remove this filter, could filter by microcaps, and just track what microcaps smart money are buying. And let's say we're getting a bit of noise here. We're seeing low value transactions. We can filter. Let's say we want to set this to a minimum 1,000, maybe even higher. And we get more meaningful results here. We can even go again higher than this. Now we've got some much more meaningful results. We see there is a Moodang whale buying Wizard. They spent 10K 15 minutes ago. That could be a much higher signal. Something else I would like to now discuss for the token discovery part is smart alerts. Smart alerts.
James, just quickly,
yes.
do you mind if I just step in really quickly? And if we just head back to smart money, yeah, thanks a lot for this, James. Really interesting stuff. I want to just highlight again the importance of how this data can be used and why it's so unique. So, like, even just looking at the fund filter label that James applied, like, these are sophisticated funds that are trading millions of dollars. They've got potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in assets under management. They've got people that have like sophisticated research analysts. They've got sophisticated portfolio managers. They've gone through years of university education. And without Nansen, you'd have no idea of what these funds are trading on chain, right? Like, you can never see this in the traditional financial space. Like, you can't see when a big like fund might buy like a stock in real time. But that's the beauty of on-chain data. You can see when these really sophisticated funds are buying and selling in real time. And without Nansen, you'd have no idea that this address that we're looking at here is indeed owned by Master Ventures. Master Ventures have invested in some of the biggest names in the entire crypto space. And to see them now evolving into like Solana meme coins is really interesting, right? Like, there's something there. So I think it's worth thinking about as an investor. Do you have more of an edge than like a really sophisticated fund? And if you potentially don't think you do, then you might want to think about following their activity on chain. So again, it's being able to stare out into the whole smart money universe and seeing in real time what the most profitable 500 addresses are buying and selling on Solana is just like something that you can't really find anywhere else in the traditional financial place or across other data providers. So I just wanted to really comment on how unique some of this stuff is. And following smart money is going to be one of the best ways that you win on chain, because again, the whole Solana space is happening on chain right now. A lot of these tokens that we're taking a look at aren't even listed on sexes. It's happening on dexes, and that's why on-chain data is so important. But yeah, just wanted to call that out, James. And thank you again for the demo, but would love to see what you've got in store on the Smart Alert side.
Yes, thank you very much for that context, Charlie. I think it's very important. And it's good for people to understand, especially if you're new to the platform. So actually, let me just jump back here. So this is our Smart Alerts page. If you go down here, you'll see it on the left-hand side on your tab. Then we can come up here and create new alert. There are simple smart alerts and advanced smart alerts. Today, I am going to take a look at an advanced smart alert. But just before we go there, I'll give you a bit of insight about what the simple smart alert can do. Very simply put, you can just plug in an address here and select a minimum USD value. And then anytime there's an inflow or outflow of that address, you'll get an alert, as long as it meets the minimum USD value requirement. We cover pretty much all chains. So this is a simple smart alert. Very quick to set up, easy, Now we have advanced smart alerts, and these can go a bit deeper, and this is where you can really maximize the labels that are on Nansen. And let's say you have very limited time. This will save you a huge amount of time because you can use our smart money labels and get alerts when you're away from your computer, and get alerts to Telegram, Discord, Slack. So this is the smart money token flow alert. Again, we are thinking of smart money as an entity in this case. Smart money, think of it as one entity, and anytime there is a flow of a token into smart money wallets as a whole, this alert may or may not ping depending on the criteria we set up. So first of all, if you're looking for new tokens, maybe you will set a max token age of 7 days. If you're really going into the extreme end, you can move this down to 2, even 1. But let's say we leave it at 2 for now. And again, we're focused on Solana today. And then we want to set a minimum inflow. And when you're thinking about the minimum inflow, you should also be thinking about the market cap, because if you set a minimum inflow of 1,000 and you don't set anything for the market caps, there's thousands of dollars moving in and out of large caps like we saw with Giga every day. So you're going to be getting way too many alerts if you don't set a max market cap, but set this to 1,000. So a good, let's say, starting point could be something like 3,000, and then a max market cap of, let's say, 500,000. Because again, this is, let's say, very deep into the riskier end of the spectrum, but there are plenty of people that are interested in these things, and Nansen is a very good platform for catching these tokens early. And then we can filter out recently deployed low quality or spam tokens. I remove this filter. And the reason I remove this filter, and I would only recommend removing this filter if, let's say, you know what you're doing or you're willing to risk more. But I remove this filter because I want to hear the newly deployed tokens. I want to receive the ticker, so that then I can do my own due diligence. And then I can decide if it's a good idea to place a bet or not. So once you put in parameters, let's say like this, you can set the trigger conditions. If you click this, set up the Nansen Telegram bot, it will give you all the instructions you need. You can plug in the chat ID, set the notifications, and then you will get alerts every time a token flows into smart money wallets and the value is greater than $3,000. I think we may be pushing towards the end of this segment now, Charlie. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I might start to wrap it up here. These alerts are very powerful, and what I highly recommend people doing is trying to play around with these parameters to get the right noise to signal ratio. Because if you're getting too many alerts, then maybe you need to tighten these. Bump this up to, let's say, 5,000, maybe even move this down to 1 day. Possibly, if you're still getting too many alerts, move this down to 300,000. And then same goes if you're getting not enough alerts and you want more, bump it up to, let's say, 800,000, move it down to 2,000, move this up to 7 days, something like that. That's just a general idea, and the whole concept I'm trying to teach you here is that you should keep an eye on your alerts, and if you feel like it's too much, tighten the parameters. If you're not getting enough, loosen them. So with that, I will pass it back over to Charlie. Yes.
Great. Thank you, James. I will boot you off the screen share if that's all right.
Yes.
Might just have to stop that on your side first. Great.
Yes.
Okay, nice. That should be there again. So yeah, just actually wanted to start off where you left things, James, and just wanted to add a little bit of extra color to some of these simple alerts, because what I'm going to help you to do now is to discover really profitable addresses and entities that you can set alerts on that is going to help you to become a better crypto investor, because you're able to tap into the minds of smart money directly by seeing what they're doing on chain. So one extra thing to cover is we applied adding an address in here, but also we can easily add someone like Master Ventures and get alerted of all of their entity activity. So rather than just applying this at one address, we might have several hundred addresses associated as master. So now anytime that you see the portfolio manager at Master Ventures make any trade, you're going to be in the know about it. And you're going to be one of the first people to know about that activity in the whole market, right? So that's really where a lot of this edge comes from. And what I've found by speaking to a number of Solana-based investors lately is that they're finding about an address list of maybe 5 to 10 addresses that are really, really crushing it. And then being alerted of their activity and simply copy trading their activity. So if they make a transaction, it might also encourage you to make a transaction. So it's really key to find the addresses that are in line with your trading strategies. You probably don't want to be tracking someone that's making a trade every 2 months, or you probably don't want to be tracking someone that's making a trade like every second or every 5 seconds, right? It's about trying to find that sweet spot. And that's what I'm going to help you to do today. So firstly, we took a look at the top tokens and trades. Again, just a really quick summary of smart money. It's the most profitable 500 addresses of the several million that are active on Solana. So it's really the cream of the crop again. And you can use this leaderboard to help you to understand, well, who are the smartest of the smart money? So this here is a leaderboard of those that have made the most money across different time periods and across realized and unrealized gains. So realized means that they've cashed in their position, but it can sometimes be really interesting to track unrealized gains as well, because these are individuals that are yet to cash it in, and eventually they will, and potentially on tokens that you also care about. So we'll dive into a few different addresses in a moment, but let's take a look at how this table is formatted first. So we have the list of the different addresses here. And by looking at the labels, we can understand a bit more of their activity on chain. So for example, Jump Capital, if I hover over their address, I can see that Jump Capital is actually a crypto fund. Without Nansen, you'd have no idea that this address is actually from Jump. We can see that this address is a meme coin expert. They've made $4 million on chain in the last 90 days. I don't know what your P&L looks like, but mine definitely does not look like this. I wish it did, but with Nansen, hopefully we can increase that a bit more for you. So what we can see is we've got the total P&L, which includes realized and unrealized gains. Here we can see the realized P&L. So it looks like this address has actually cashed in a large chunk of their positions, because they've only got about 850K odd remaining to sell. I can see that they've got an ROI of 840% and a win rate of nearly 90%. So of 90% of the trades that this top address is making, they're in the profit. And they've only made 209 trades over the last 90 days. So if I was to get alerted of this account, I'm not going to be pinged sort of every second, which could be a real pain. And potentially this address that's made like 2,000 transactions might be one that I don't want to track. Just like this address maybe isn't one that I want to track because I've only made 5 trades in the last 90 days. So it's really, really key that you apply that additional layer of interpretation on top of some of this data to help you find the addresses that are the most interesting. What more you can do to help really zoom in on your trading strategies or what you're looking for is to apply some filters. I really like to apply a win rate of 80%. So 80% of the time, they make a profitable trade. I also might want to take a look at the addresses that have made more than $1 million on chain in the last 90 days. And maybe I also want to take a look at the number of trades they've made. 5 is too low, but more than 100 might be too high. So now already we've really started to narrow down this list of addresses that we may want to track. What's key as well is you can see the different tokens here that this address is trading. So here we can see this Batman with.sol address has been active on like Popcat, Chaos, like SCF, many of these Solana tokens, Michi, that you also might be familiar with. So now what I do is I try to do a bit of almost due diligence by comparing some addresses against each other to see, is this really an address that I want to add to my alert list? So we can take a look at this Batman with.sol address, and we can also take a look at another address. Let me just open up this DevMons address. So DevMons are like a syndicate fund. They're a group of angel investors that come together to invest money. So quite interesting to see that this is really sophisticated guys, where this seems to be just one individual. So here we can see a little bit more about his historical token portfolio. And I can see that it actually spiked quite a lot earlier in October, but it started to go down a little bit more lately. Maybe he's just cashed out some of his positions, but we can validate that for ourselves. We can see in his token balances that he's got some decent balances like Billy, etc., but they're not massive balances. They're really decent, of course, but compared to his P&L, it's a little less high. If I can actually head to his P&L tab and understand a lot more of exactly where he's made his money. We can see tokens like Popcat, like Chaos, SCF. He's made more than $1 million on 2 trades and more than 100K on several more. However, we can see he's basically sold out on all of the positions that he has. So potentially this address, given that their portfolio is trending down, and given that they've sold a lot of the positions they've done well on, maybe this address isn't as interesting for me. But let's take a look at their unrealized gains. We can see that he has 1.2 mil specifically.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh.
It looks like the screen has frozen.
Apologies. Yep. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that, James. Let me just start that again. So I was looking here at his portfolio, and we saw that it started to trend down. So this is me looking at a specific address. And here we can see that he has smaller positions in memecoins still, but he's made a lot of his money, $4 million over the last 90 days. So then what I did was look at the P&L tab, and this is where I can start to understand a lot more on his activity. So here we can see the trade performance, that he's made more than $1 million on these 2 tokens, and he's made more than 100K on these 3. But here we can see that he's actually cashed out a lot of those positions already. If I look at his unrealized gains, I can see that Chaos is where he's yet to cash in quite a large position. And given that he bought this for only 55K and he's done well on Chaos already, I might specifically choose to track this address for Chaos with alerts. Maybe I care a little bit less about his other activity, where I might choose to track an address for their overall activity as well. So depending on really what you're looking for, maybe you're a Chaos holder yourself, you might choose to track this activity in an alert, which I'll touch on in a moment. Otherwise, you might choose to set an alert on all of their activity. So you've quite a lot of customizability there. Let's now take a look at this DevMons address instead. So DevMons are that fund that I was talking about. So their activity has actually been increasing quite a lot lately. So we can see a bit of a big spike here. So to me already, this address is starting to look a bit more interesting from an assets under management perspective. If I look down, I can see that while they've made a slightly less amount, they've made 1.5 mil on 24 trades. So I'm sure anyone would be pretty happy with that, despite the win rate being a little lower. Here we can see like Opus, A16Z, FWOG, Giga, like a lot of these tokens, Chill Guy, etc. Many of them you'll be familiar with yourself. I can take a look now at like the P&L and see that this guy has cashed in pretty large amounts of realized P&L, but he's still sitting on quite a chunk, right? So to me, that's a little bit more interesting in the past address who's cashed in all of their money already. If I look at the unrealized, I can see, yeah, they still have quite a lot of money to cash in as well. So potentially this address is slightly more interesting to me. It's probably pretty safe to assume that like a fund or a syndicate like DevMons often have some pretty interesting insider alpha potentially that they might be trading on the back of, maybe a little bit more so than just this individual Batman with .sol. So I might choose to instead set alerts on DevMons activity by simply clicking on create alert. And then easily here, I can say that I want to be told of any transactions of over, let's say 10K. And I want you to notify me in either Telegram, Discord, or Slack. So that is a little bit more about the Smart Money P&L leaderboard tab. But there's another leaderboard that's really, really interesting as well. So let's take a look at Peanut, the poor squirrel that was killed by the US government. And here I am zooming into token God mode. We've taken a look at the Smart Money tab by James looking at this earlier. But there's another one that's really interesting, the P&L leaderboard. So this shows the most profitable addresses on a specific token. Once this loads, as we'd expect to see, there's tons of smart money addresses in here, given that they are the most profitable addresses pretty consistently. But here we can see this guy's made $50 million on Peanut, but he's actually yet to cash in $48 million of that. So hats off to this guy for making so much money on this poor little squirrel. But here we can try to find some of these addresses that might be interesting to me. Like this address here, I can see that they have a 90% win rate and they've made 1.2 mil. So this could be another really great way to discover interesting addresses. So let's take a look at this guy. Here we can see like Peanut is a massive part of his position. So is Goat. So this guy's holding quite a lot more and these kind of more like blue chip meme coins on Solana. It's crazy how the space moves so quick that Peanut and Goat would be considered more blue chip. But we can also take a look at his P&L and see that like he's made a lot of money on those two tokens too. And yeah, he's got a lot of money yet to cash in on Peanut. So that's just a slightly interesting alternative way to track those addresses. You can also apply custom labels to an account. So if I wanted to say like Peanut, like high P&L, I can then easily track this address so that whenever I come back to them in Nansen, I know that this guy is the one that's like smashed it on Peanut. So let's take a look at another token together, like Goat. So we can take a look at the Smart Money tab. Like Goat is really what has started this crazy AI agent narrative on Solana, which I'm sure many of you guys are active in. But if we look at some of the holders of Goat, we can see DevMons there. So DevMons, this is another address of DevMons. But you can just see that they're like super, super active across the Solana space. So when you find these addresses that are consistently crushing it or consistently big holders of a token, Like, it can be really, really interesting. And Sigil Fund are another great example of that. So Sigil Fund, they are actually also closely related to the DevMons Fund. And here we can see that they've got massive positions in like PopCat, in Zero Bro, $1 million on Zero Bro, and nearly $2 million on PopCat. We can see that they're not super active though. So they're only making a few trades, which could suggest that maybe these are longer term plays for Sigil. And that's always quite interesting to try to tap into the mind of a fund and be like, are you guys just going to sell this in a day? Or are you maybe trying to build higher conviction around some of these meme coins to hold right throughout the cycle? And I can select Wallet Profiler for token to bring this address and the token side by side. So I can specifically see the activity of Sigil on PopCat. And this is actually, once this loads, the balance over time. Been tons of activity on PopCat recently, so it is taking a little longer than usual. But even if we just, here we go. So we can see this dark blue line is their balance, and this light blue bar is when they added to their position. So here we can see they were adding quite a bit when the token was about 70 cents. Then they added more, and since this really big spike, the token's done a pretty comfortable 3x, and they've actually sold 1.2 mil of their PopCat by sending it to Gate. So again, without Nansen, you'd have no idea that this is a Gate address. You'd have no idea that this is a Sigil Fund address. But now you can tap into the minds of these really sophisticated fund managers, research analysts, etc. And this is actually something I shared with a number of our users and was shared in our alpha community at Nansen. And a number of investors, of Nansen investors, did quite well on the back of this signal. So pretty interesting stuff. But I think this is probably the end of a lot of what we've covered today. There are a few other juicy bits and pieces, so don't go just yet. We have a new token screener, which is live for our professional users today. This is going to be one of the best ways to find alpha, looking at inflows into smart money within the last 5 minutes. So if you want to be early on tokens, wait until next week and you will be able to see this in Nansen. You'll be able to see that there's massive inflows into this UBC token, and smart money are 28% of the inflow compared to the FDV. So do take a look at Token Screener once it does go live. I think this is going to be a real 10x on the token discovery front. So I do want to share a few other things as well, just on the topic of Solana. So we have recently made staking validator, the commissions on staking with Nansen, completely free from a commissions perspective. So you'll get 10% APY on any Solana that you stake with us, and there will be no cost to you. So this has just gone live over the last few days. So you will also accrue Nansen points in exchange for staking Solana. So we're looking to launch our points program next year. However, if you get started staking with us today, we will backdate any staking activity that you've done with us, which you'll be able to cash in for some pretty interesting rewards. So do check this one out. Also, we will have a discount code which you can use on any one of these paid plans that you see here. Everything that we have covered in today's webinar is included in the Pioneer plan. However, the professional plan will give you complete access to Nansen. You get someone to guide you, like myself or James, to help you get the most out of your subscription. You can also join our alpha community of smart money investors, where you can learn from some of these fund managers directly in a Discord community. And you can also tap into our exclusive market research. So we will share the code in just a moment. But in the meantime, we still have about 10 minutes. So feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and James will handpick a few and we will race through them. But otherwise, I hope you've learned something today. I hope we might have found an interesting token together. Who knows where the token will be a week from now, but I also hope that you have learned a little bit more about Solana and Nansen and the benefits of on-chain data. So I thank you all for coming along. And again, we'll drop the code for one of these plans in the chat in just one moment.
I have gathered some questions, Charlie. I might just start running through them and we can try and go as quick as possible so we can get as many answered. Do you mind if I share my screen here?
Go for it.
Nice. Okay.
Also, please, just quickly, please drop any feedback as well, either on the webinar that we've covered or just on the product in general. We are looking to do several more of these webinars in future, provided that they are helpful for you. So we are all ears to anything positive, negative. We're always looking to improve. So thank you. But fire away, James.
Yes, absolutely. And I will second that. We're always looking for feedback and we're very open to it. And the first, let's say, question we have here is from Inno. Can we get more filters for the smart money trades dashboard, please? E.g., filter out stables, USC value amount, only buys only for Sol. Yes, the answer is yes, we can. I will pass that request onto the product team. They're quite responsive on these things, so hopefully we can make these changes. Next question is on Master Ventures. Are they buying or are they selling? That was a question. Yes. Has Master Ventures bought these two tokens or sold them? So if you look here, we see Master Ventures. This is the buy column, let's say, and this is the sell. This is the value of the transaction. So $1,570 of Wedgie was swapped, was bought, and $1,570 of SBX was sold. Hopefully that answers that one. Mark Smith, I saw you had some good feedback in there, which, by the way, we are collecting. Is there a way to include a refresh button or make it so that the feeds refresh more frequently? I suppose I'm wondering, are you speaking about the live DEX trades widget here, or are you looking at some of the other widgets that we have? Either way, it's something I can mention. Just make sure to drop that in the chat, that little clarification, and we'll share it across the product team.
Just Alex, on that one, quickly, yes. James, just to chime in. So there is also a little quick access section down the bottom left, if you just wanted to navigate down to that on your nav bar, James. I recognize it's not exactly what you're after, but if you do find yourself using a lot of the same dashboards or the same tables, you can easily click the little pin button, and then it will immediately drop down there. And then by the click of a button, you can navigate back. We are looking to make some of the filters a little bit more sticky, but yeah, still work in progress on that. So, and just quickly before we go on with the questions, so the promo code is WebSol1, WEBSOL1, and that is also in the YouTube chat there. Just bear in mind it is for new users if you do not have if you've not got a subscription already. Thank you. See, we've got another question. When are we planning to launch an API service? Great question. It's one of the most common questions that we get at the moment. So we are currently in requirements collection mode. So we're speaking to a number of prospects, number of our current customers to see what we should build towards, what are the use cases that we should tackle, what are the areas that we should really double down on, and so that we can eventually ship an API, mostly likely looking to be about halfway through next year, but TBC on that. There is an API page as well that we have built out, where if you want to get on the wait list, if you want to explore our technical docs, you can plug your details in there, and our team will reach out to you once we have the API a little bit more established. So we'll drop that in the chat as well, and feel free to check it out.
Another one here from Mark. Is there a way to save search criteria? And yes, there is, because I saw that you mentioned that when you refresh the page, the filters have been removed. So let's say if you select various filters on the table, let's say you are looking at just funds, you're looking at, let's say, mid caps, what are funds buying, and we'll say all chains, because maybe we want a comprehensive view of what funds are buying. Sorry, I removed the filters here. Fund, mid caps, all chains. If you click star on this, you'll save it to my dashboard. So that's a personal dashboard for you. And how you can access this is if you go to your home page and then come up here to my dashboard, you can have lots of different widgets here with lots of different filters, and you can have the same widget with different filters here, and then you can just click refresh here. And every day you could come and check to see if there's any new results within your search parameters. So hopefully that answers that question. Then Andre says, is there any limit on the number of notifications users can receive during certain periods of time? I'm going to assume you're speaking about smart alerts here. There's no real limit. It just depends on the smart alert itself. Very rarely we've ran into issues with Discord rate limiting us. Let's say if you take 500 addresses and track all their token transfers, at some stage you're going to have too many messages coming into Discord and they will cut you off. But generally there's no limit. For, let's say, the smart alert that I showed, the smart money token flow, that comes every hour, and the maximum tickers you get is 5. We are looking to change how we do this, and we are looking to bring in, let's say, every 30 minutes that you get a smart money token flow alert.
So just to chime in there as well. So thanks for that, James. On the Pioneer plan, there is a limit to the number of unique alerts that you can get set up. And on the professional plan, you get complete access to as many smart alerts as you want. But in terms of like the number of notifications on a specific alert, that's not really something you'd have to worry about.
Yeah. Another one here. Have they named themselves Moodang Whale or Memecoin Export, or has Nansen nicknamed their wallet? So this is actually...
Yeah, I'm happy to take...
Yeah, you can jump in on this one, Charlie.
Yeah, happy to take this one. So that's labeled by Nansen specifically. So basically, we have a dedicated wallet labeling team internally at Nansen. Their whole job is to label wallets. And some of those wallets are associated with funds or entities, and some of them are more based on their behavior or their possessional information. So some of them you'll see as like DEX trader, or like a 30-day smart trader. So that's someone that's made the most, like they're in the top 1% or the real cream of the crop of the people that have made money on DEXs in the last 30 days. Where some of the labels are more possessional based, where if someone is like a Moodang whale or a peanut whale, it means that they are holding a really, really large position of peanut, etc. But just like you've done there, James, with hovering over it, you can look at some of the other wallet labels that we have associated with this address to understand a little bit more about who they are and what they do on chain. So if we just go back to that one, James, the peanut whale, just one more. Oh,
Is it the peanut whale?
yeah, that one. So there's a really interesting label there, the multiple meme coin whale. So that means they hold more than 0.1% of more than or 2 or more large meme coins on Solana. So if you hovered over this address, immediately it tells you that this is someone that is active in the meme coin space. And therefore, if you are as well, potentially you might want to dive a bit deeper into that. So it's key to interpret all of the wallet labels rather than just the primary name there as well. On-chain lens, I see you've just said, please make the chosen name for that specific wallet an alert. Yeah, we are working on that actually. So we plan on having like alert coverage for where you can apply, let's say like multiple meme coin whale, and then you'll be alerted of all of the multiple meme coin whales. So rather than just applying it at one address level. All right, maybe one more question, James, and then I think we'll have to jump off. I'll let you tackle it.
Yep. Tracking wallet transactions is straightforward. How to weed out airdrops, which is very common for public wallets, i.e. transactions alerts should be coming from DEX swaps. Yes, we are looking to bring in a smart alert where we are only looking at DEX swaps. One way that you can weed out, I'm going to assume as well, you're talking about like the batch sense where people dust your wallet with like $1 to $2 of a token. It's just setting a higher minimum inflow parameter. So let's say if you move that up to the minimum amount of flows you want to see into the wallet are $100, you're going to cut out those dusting transactions. Hopefully that answers that one. I think one more that I would like to answer. Can we see what price they entered at? I just think this is an important one. Let's say if you go into an address here, we're in the Fruit token deployer, there's smart money. We see down here, they got into AI16Z, Degen AI, Go. Maybe you want to see what price they got into Go at. If you right click and then go into wallet profiler for token, you're going to get a view of just this wallet and just this token, and you'll be able to see their cost basis here. That's a little trick that sometimes people don't realize when they first start on the platform, but it's extremely useful. So with that,
exactly. And then also, James, just if you scroll down just a little bit more, you can then see their balance over time. You can see there on that chart, the blue bar is exactly when they entered that position. So there you can then overlay that with the price to then understand their entry for like every single trade, entry and exit, rather than just seeing the cost basis, which takes the average. All right.
And it looks like they actually could have secured a lot more gains on this, but they exited quite a lot pretty early. But then they got back in here. But anyway, yeah.
Can't win them all. Can't win them all. Again, so the promo code, if you are a new user, is WebSoul1. And would again love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this. And thank you all for tuning in. I loved sleuthing with you all and James as well. Drop your GNs in the chat before we jump off. But otherwise, happy sleuthing. And hopefully we hit Bitcoin 100K anytime soon. But with that, I will end the stream here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.